Oh shoot. There we go. Grand Rising, YouTube, my soul tribe, the ether and the cosmos, and no, they are not the same. This is your girl Mighty Mocha, joining you for Timely Tuesday, week 4. And I know in the description box, I listed in the description box that the video is total capacity. And I wanted to add testimony to that. So some of you guys know how I do it. First, I want to give thanks to the Most High for waking me up this morning, and hopefully you all as well. And thank you for those who listen, comment on my content, share, and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. And some of you guys know how I do it. I give a little dialogue, and then I use these beautiful tarot cards that I have pulled and meditated over and prayed over to drive my message home. So, total capacity. I started off doing these videos because I was receiving these dreams and downloads, and look out for the book that's coming, Dreams and Downloads. I'm just going to prophesize it, call it out. But it was because I had went through a hell of a journey over the past, I'd say 10 years. I sum it up sometimes and say it's been, 2, 3 years, it's been 5 years, but it's been about 10 or 15 years that I have been going through this journey of self-discovery and self-identifying and reinventing myself and self-improvement. And when I pulled this spread, yesterday, I usually pull my spreads on Saturdays, but because of the holidays, I kind of chose to switch it up and pull my spreads, a day before and kind of tune into the messages and marinate on the cards. But when I thought about total capacity, I just thought about all of the things that have filled my space over the last 10 to 15 years. And I thought it was so timely as we wrap up this year of 2020 and move towards 2021, to just kind of check in. And in doing so, um, came this great testimony that I think I'm going to write about versus talk about. Um, but in doing so, I discovered a lot of things about myself that brought me to this moment of total capacity. And I'm just going to step out on the limb and say that even the cards that I pulled kind of resonates with what I have been feeling, and what I have been experiencing from a past to a present perspective. And so when I think total capacity, I don't think that it's a representation of what has happened in totality. I think that it is an acknowledgement of the impact that it has had, on me and maybe others who are experiencing this as well. I'm not sure. But when I think total capacity, I think that there have been things that have happened, experiences that I've had, shared, that have impacted me in a way that brings me to a place of peace now, a place of understanding, a place of fulfillment, whereas I know where to seek fulfillment from. And I know that the things that I have sought fulfillment in the past have not served me well. But to that end, and to some degree, have served me extremely well emotionally and mentally. But it was like I had to go through this process of turmoil in order to understand that the places that I was in before were not serving me. And in doing so, I had to relinquish people, I had to relinquish things, I had to relinquish thoughts, I had to relinquish images, I had to relinquish feelings and undesirable things that I thought were serving me. And as a result of being brave enough and having the courage enough to do so, I was able to refill my cups with something a lot more profitable for me. And I'm not talking about financially, I'm talking about spiritually and emotionally. And I'm so glad that I went through this journey, because I had to strip away everything about myself that I was taught that I was, unconsciously and intentionally taught. And I had to reestablish not who I am, but who I am becoming. And so it's kind of like part of my testimony. And my spiritual awakening has been tied to undoing all of the things of the past that could have done me in for sure, had I continued down that pathway. So I encourage you guys to think about how to attain total capacity of self, how to understand yourself in a way that is meaningful for you and not your external world, not who someone is telling you you are or what they are saying you should be or judging you based upon who they thought you were or who you once were. But I encourage you to elevate yourself so that you could enjoy the benefits of you, whether someone else benefits from that level of enjoyment or not. And I encourage you to stave off things and cut off things and people and places and circumstances and situations that keep you bound and suppressed by not knowing yourself fully and not understanding fully who it is that you have the capacity to be. So, yeah, I could talk forever about this because it has been a long time coming for me, and I'm just glad that I started listening to and paying attention to the signs and the synchronicities, and it has elevated me in such a way that I feel such eternal and infinite gratitude for every chain, every bonding that I had that was negative, because in doing so, I could look back and say, ask myself pertinent questions about how to undo those things. And in doing so, it brought me to a place of peace. And so, but it was hard work and it remains hard work. I'm not even saying that it's over. I'm saying I'm just more in tune to it and more able to deal with it in a way that is healthy for me and the people around me. And so I'm not gonna I could like I said, I could go on and on about that, but this is the part where I use these tarot cards to kind of drive my message home. And so I pulled um, cards from, I always like to name the decks and give people credit where credit is due. So, of course, I used the Martin, which is Tarot, which I truly love. And it was my first deck. And for me to even be sharing it, this is by Lisa Sturl, these here. And for me to even be sharing this is very personal for me because this was the first deck that I purchased for myself. So, and I would only use it for myself. So I'm sharing it with the public. And I know that it is for the benefit of something greater than me. And so once again, I can relinquish certain things that serve me in a certain way, and I can share them with others so that they too can elevate themselves. So the first card that I pulled, well, of course, was the Nine of Cups. And she is sitting to me. It doesn't look like a throne, but that is just how I'm internalizing it. She is dressed up right nice, looking beautiful, sitting there with all of her cups above her. And she is poised and resolute in the fact that she has put in the hard work and she feels successful. I like the way her dress is all fluffed out and tuffed out around her, but she's been successful based upon her hard work, and she should be is ready. Pardon me. She is ready to celebrate her success and her accomplishments. And then right behind that, Spirit gave me the 10 of Cups. And this is joy and peace and balance within my home life and on the home front. But it was through trials and tribulations, and it was through a lot of heartache and pain. But it evened itself out in the long run and brought total satisfaction, total capacity. And I'm just looking at the colors, and I'm looking at, like, even though these are like, to me, it has a little bit of a water vibe, a little bit of a water vibe to it. But I'm not gonna focus on that. I like the rainbows. I like the energy. I like the fact that there is um, tranquility here. There's resting, and there is bonding, and there is a continuum of happiness and shared happiness at that. And look at her when she was alone doing her work, putting in her efforts. She was by herself, but then she was able to bridge those gaps and bring together this element of harmonious satisfaction amongst her tribe, within her community, within her home, within her family. And, yeah, that's been my journey. So, and then just like to put the icing on the cake and the cherry on top, I pulled the 10 of Pentacles. I pulled the 10 of Pentacles, and the 10 of Pentacles is a magical coming together. And I said it. I said I was at peace. I don't have to worry about anything anymore. I'm not burdened by financial worries. I'm not burdened by familiar worries. I'm not burdened by, like, we are living in a very tumultuous time right now, but I guarantee you I feel none of that energy. I feel at peace. I feel solidified with what I have done, and I felt like there were higher powers definitely that helped me to stay grounded, but I wanted to welcome the peace, and I put in the work to ensure that I got the peace. And it was very hard, excuse me, because on my journey, I lost some very beautiful people that also had some work to do, but may not have been aware that they had work to do. But I was willing to do mine. I was willing to toil and put the labor in, and come out on the other side, feeling like I deserved to have a peaceful energy around me at all times, and to not be worried. About what was to come, because I'm so cared for, and I'm so important to the universe that I deserve peace. And my ability to inhabit peace within myself allows me to transfer that to my family, to my tribe, to my network. And so then I used, and I don't want to say clarifiers, because they're not like oracle cards or anything like that. But I used the Sun and Moon Tarot by Vanessa DeCourt, um, to just put some perspective on the first three cards. Even though, and I said it when I pulled them, I was like, I don't want to pull another card. Like, this to me sums it up. But I did it, and I'm glad that I did, because it kind of confirmed what I said before about total capacity, and making sure that you understand what your testimony is and what it's rooted in, and how it helps you to move forward. So I pulled the Ace of Wands, and of course, look at that bright light. And I love the Ace of Wands. Some people look at it, well, different readers are going to look at it a different way, but for me, it's about this spark of energy and desire and the spiritual enlightenment, and using my intuition and to propel me forward. It's about me being my truest, most authentic self. It's about how I had to burn away all of that darkness that was around me, to create some newness and clarity about how I was living my life. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful and I'm grateful. And I won't go on and on. And then I pulled the Eight of Wands. And I like the fact that these are all number cards. And the Eight of Wands, I don't know if you could see it. I've pulled this card before, but look at that rainbow, just like this rainbow in the backdrop here. Oh, shoot, right here, this rainbow here. But this is like swift movement and sudden success. And it's about, movement, though not just any type of movement for any reason, but for resolutions and follow through. And it's like I said, I started the process and I had to follow through and be diligent and be consistent about how I operated, and so that I could come out on the other side. This is Mercury and Sag. And so to me, it is about that element of I have to do this now. This is important. This is urgent. It cannot wait. And I must be consistent and I must be continuously looking at how I can evolve and follow through on the things that I say that I'm going to do and how I'm going to operate, which brought me my 10 of cups. And then I pulled the 9 of swords, which is a cruelty card. And this just reminded me, in terms of like the 10 of pentacles, this just reminded me of all the mental anguish that I suffered through, as I went through my process. And but there's a lot of air energy here, and these are the burdens and challenges that I had hanging over my head. But and I was very hard on myself, but I had to, like I said, let go of disparaging thoughts and negativity, and know that what I was being called for to do, and ways that I was being call for to look at myself would benefit me in the long run, more so than being stuck in these particular energies. And so I feel, not that my situation is complete, but I feel like it is definitely on a right path. I feel like I've definitely put the work in, and I feel like I am at total capacity for where I need to be right now. And I cannot wait to see what my journey has left to offer. And I encourage you guys to celebrate yourself and your accomplishments. And if you have a testimony, to share it with others, because someone may need to hear that. Someone may need to be invigorated, and revitalized and re-energized by your experience. And our sufferings are not in vain. We just have to follow through and see ourselves on the other side, and be willing to put the hard work in so that we can get our success, and so that we can remove burdens and worries. And so happy Timely Tuesday to you guys. The time is now for you to invest in yourself more than anyone else. Be a little selfish, be a little self serving, and don't give up, and remain hopeful that you too are just as important and cared for and valued. And thank you for listening. I'm not going to I'm gonna rest my wand. And as always, I thank you guys for liking, commenting, sharing, not liking, not commenting, not sharing, subscribing to my channel or not. Um, and all energy I use for good purposes. So with that, I leave you and hope to see you tomorrow for Wishful Wednesday. And as always, I wish you peace, love, light, and happiness. One.